Okay, so here's what I want you to copy onto your sheet. I don't care which colors you use. However, you do need to color things, label them the correct way, and you can either highlight the word like I did there or put a little dot by it so we can show what we have here. So you're going to be illustrating two different elements on here, helium, which has a mass number of 4 and an atomic number of 2, and then nitrogen, which is a mass number of 14 and atomic number of 7. So the first color I want you to pick is your proton color. I picked purple. You can pick whatever you prefer. I want you to color the 2 protons in the nucleus that color. And then in the nitrogen atom, the bigger one down there, also color 7 of those purple. Now you can't really know which one's which. They did label 1 proton, 1 a neutron. I just color about half of them purple. And then in the Bohr model at the bottom, I want you to shade in the part where it says 7 protons, that same color. I also want you to do the same thing with neutrons. Remember, protons and neutrons are in the same size. They're in the nucleus. So I picked green on that there. So you'll see on my first diagram, I colored that green. I also colored them green in the nucleus of nitrogen, and I colored them green in nitrogen's Bohr model. So that leaves us with the electrons. So electrons are in areas where they're probably found called orbitals. And you saw in the video that they have different shapes on here and different sizes too in different directions once you get to the bigger orbital. So this one is just going to use S and P orbitals. So the S orbital is the sphere shaped. So you'll see in the first picture, I colored my S orbital yellow here. And then I'm also going to use the same color in my Bohr model in the middle where I colored it yellow. And then those electrons in that S orbital would go in the first ring on there, so that's also colored yellow. The electrons I colored in blue, so I'm just using blue for all of them. So there's 2 electrons, and notice that they're spinning in opposite directions on there. So you can color the electrons a little darker and kind of shade where they're spinning. One would go clockwise and one would go counterclockwise. In the other picture on here, notice they put 2 electrons in the first level. They put 2 electrons in the second level, the 2s, and the nitrogen only has 3 more electrons. So they split those up. They put them in one at a time in each of the 3 p orbitals. Now, if I had a bigger atom with more electrons, they could fill them up, but they're just going to put 1 in each. So just like if you were sitting on a seat, especially in these COVID days on a bus, you most likely would sit by yourself if you didn't know anyone. Same thing for electrons, they like to spread out. Or if your family got a new house and you had a couple of siblings, if there were enough rooms for everybody to have their own, that's what everybody would want. There'd be less fighting. You'd have your own space to hang out on there. So in the next picture, I colored that 2s on there with orange. So notice 2s is bigger than 1s. And those electrons in the 2s would be in the second energy level. So I colored part of that label orange there. Now the p orbitals have the peanut shape, so they're in 3 different directions here, so the x, y, and z plane. So I just colored those. They would overlap some, but you can just color them. And then just the ends is fine on there. And then color that same color. I used pink on the outer one, and then notice I put the blue for the electrons. So nitrogen loves to gain 3 more electrons to fill those 3 empty spots you see don't have anything in there. So that was just a little reminder in that nitrogen loves to become N3-, which would make it stable like a noble gas. So again, make sure you have color-coded your different substances on here in each of the parts. And again, for that, you can color on your little key here. I don't have these same colors on here, but I should have on here colored, put a little orange dot here for the 2s, and then my little pink dot here for my key on that. So sorry, I forgot to do that on the other page, and I can't pick the same colors on here. All right, so that's it. So go ahead and color everything. Again, your choice of colors. Just make sure you're being consistent on what you're doing on those, and then you will submit this diagram on there. After you're done with this, you're going to be doing a little activity about a house. There's going to be rules about how they fill people. So this is like if somebody was renting rooms in their vacation house, putting everything in. So on this, I only want you to do 1 through 11. We'll do the rest next time, but you're just going to explain how you see them filling everything on there. So you'll do the first part on your own, and then we'll finish it up in class on the next time on there.